Stop the cameras. Dr. Phil's voice cut through the studio like a blade. Every camera operator froze mid-movement. The audience gasped collectively. On stage, Jennifer Morrison sat trembling, clutching a yellowed envelope that had been hidden in her father's workshop for 20 years. Stop everything. Right now. What happened in the next 60 seconds would become the most talked about moment in the show's history. The envelope shook in Jennifer's hands as tears streamed down her face. Dr. Phil stepped closer, his expression transforming from his usual authoritative demeanor to something raw and protective. He turned to the control room, his voice firm. Cut to commercial. Get the family counselor on set. Nobody moves until I say so. The studio lights dimmed slightly as production scrambled. This wasn't scripted. This wasn't planned. This was real. But to understand why Dr. Phil broke every protocol that day, we need to go back to where it all started. 3 weeks earlier, Jennifer Morrison had submitted a desperate application to appear on Dr. Phil. My family is destroying itself over my father's estate, she wrote. My siblings won't speak to me. My mother blames me for everything. I need help before we lose each other forever. The Morrison family drama seemed straightforward on paper. Richard Morrison, a successful contractor, had died suddenly of a heart attack at 67. He left behind a wife, 3 adult children, and an estate worth approximately $2.3 million. The problem? His will had allegedly left everything to his youngest son, Marcus, cutting out Jennifer and her older brother completely. Jennifer arrived at the studio that morning looking exhausted. Dark circles under her eyes told the story of months without proper sleep. Her hands wouldn't stop shaking during makeup. I just want my family back, she kept repeating to the producer. I don't even care about the money anymore. What Jennifer didn't know was that she was about to uncover a truth that would shatter everything. The show began as planned. Dr. Phil welcomed Jennifer to the stage, his trademark direct approach immediately establishing the stakes. Your family hasn't spoken in 8 months. Your mother calls you a liar. Your brothers won't return your calls. What's really going on here? Jennifer's voice cracked as she explained. My father and I were close. So close. He taught me everything about his business. Every weekend, I was in his workshop learning carpentry, electrical work, plumbing. He always said I had the best head for business in the family. So why would he cut you out completely? Dr. Phil leaned forward. That's just it. I don't think he did. Jennifer's hands gripped the armrest. Something doesn't add up. The will that Marcus produced. My father's signature looks off. The date is wrong. He supposedly signed it on June 15th, but I have photos of us at my daughter's graduation that day. He was with me all day. The audience murmured. Dr. Phil's eyes narrowed slightly, the telltale sign that he'd caught something significant. Have you challenged this will legally? I tried. My lawyer says we need proof. But Marcus has the original document, and he won't let anyone examine it. My mother sided with him, said I was being greedy and disrespectful to my father's memory. Dr. Phil paused. The studio fell silent. Jennifer, before we continue, is there anything else you haven't told me? Anything at all? Jennifer hesitated. Her hand moved to her purse, then stopped. She looked at Dr. Phil, then at the audience, then back at her lap. I found something. Last week. I went back to my father's workshop. It's still there, attached to our old family property. My mother gave me permission to clear out his tools. What did you find? Jennifer reached into her purse with trembling fingers. The cameras zoomed in automatically, following her movement. She pulled out an envelope, aged and slightly bent, with her father's handwriting clearly visible on the front. It was hidden in a false bottom of his toolbox. The toolbox he gave me on my 16th birthday. The studio went completely still. Even the audience members who had been shifting in their seats froze. Dr. Phil's expression changed. Years of experience told him immediately that this moment was different. What's in that envelope, Jennifer? I haven't opened it. Her voice was barely a whisper. It's addressed to me, but it's sealed with wax. My father only used wax seals for legal documents. I brought it here because I'm scared. I'm scared of what it says. I'm scared my mother will say I forged it. I'm scared. Stop the cameras. Dr. Phil stood up. The entire production team froze. In 17 seasons, Dr. Phil had never stopped filming mid-episode. The audience gasped. Camera operators looked at each other, confused. The director's voice crackled through someone's earpiece. Did he just say stop? Yes, I said stop. Dr. Phil walked to the edge of the stage, addressing the control room directly. Cut the live feed. Get our legal consultant on set immediately. And someone called Jennifer's attorney. He turned back to Jennifer, his voice softening. Before you open that, we're going to do this right. If that's what I think it is, you need protection. Subscribe and leave a comment, because the most powerful part of this story is still ahead. Jennifer looked up at him, tears flowing freely now. You believe me? Sweetheart, I've been doing this long enough to know truth when I see it. Dr. Phil sat down beside her, not in his usual chair, but on the armrest of hers, a gesture that broke every staging convention of the show. That envelope in your hands? Your father made sure only you would find it. Hidden in the toolbox he gave you. That's not coincidence. The commercial break felt like an eternity. Backstage, the legal consultant arrived within minutes. Dr. Phil's team always had experts on call, but never for something like this. The family therapist who had been scheduled for later in the show rushed to the stage. When filming resumed, the energy had shifted entirely. This was no longer a typical Dr. Phil episode about family conflict. This had become something else, a moment of truth that would determine the course of lives. Dr. Phil addressed the camera directly. What you're about to see is unscripted. We've consulted with legal experts during the break. Jennifer has agreed to open this envelope on camera, with proper witnesses, so there can be no question of authenticity. He turned to Jennifer. Are you ready? Her hands shook so violently that Dr. Phil gently placed his hand over hers to steady them. The camera captured the moment in perfect clarity. Two hands, one trembling with fear, one steady with support, holding an envelope that contained 20 years of hidden truth. Jennifer broke the wax seal. The sound echoed through the silent studio. Inside was a single folded document. As Jennifer unfolded it, Dr. Phil's eyes scanned the text first. His expression changed, jaw tightening, eyes widening slightly. Jennifer. His voice was gentle but urgent. This is your father's will. The real one. The studio erupted. Audience members gasped, some standing up to see better. Jennifer's hands shook as she tried to read, but the words blurred through her tears. Dr. Phil took the document carefully, handling it like the precious evidence it was. This is dated May 2nd, 6 weeks before the will your brother presented. It's notarized. It has 2 witness signatures. He looked directly at the camera. And it tells a very different story. But what the will said was only the beginning. Because attached to it was a letter. Read it, Jennifer whispered. Please. I can't. Dr. Phil opened the letter, his voice steady but filled with emotion as he read aloud. My dearest Jennifer, if you're reading this, I'm gone, and I'm so sorry I couldn't tell you everything while I was alive. I'm writing this because I know what's going to happen after I die. Your brother Marcus has been pressuring me for months to change my will. He's gotten himself into financial trouble, gambling debts I discovered last month. He doesn't know I know. Your mother doesn't know either, and I couldn't bear to break her heart. The audience was completely silent. Several people were crying openly. Dr. Phil continued. I made a fake will giving Marcus everything, and I told him where to find it in my office safe. I did this to protect you and your sister. I knew if he thought he was getting the money, he'd leave you alone. The real will is with you now, hidden where only you could find it, because you're the only one who knows that toolbox as well as I do. Jennifer's sob echoed through the studio. Dr. Phil paused, giving her a moment. The truth is simple. I'm dividing everything equally among you 3 kids. But I'm putting you in charge of managing Marcus's portion through a trust, releasing it slowly, with conditions that he get help for his addiction. Don't let him guilt you. Don't let your mother's pain make you doubt this decision. I trust you, Jenny. I always have. You have my business mind and my heart. Take care of our family. Love, Dad. The studio erupted into applause mixed with sobs. Jennifer collapsed forward, and Dr. Phil wrapped his arm around her shoulders, letting her cry. It wasn't the polished, professional gesture of a TV host. It was the embrace of one human being comforting another in profound pain. Off camera, Dr. Phil made a choice no producer expected. He turned to his team. Cancel the rest of today's filming. Get Jennifer's entire family on the phone. All of them. And get our family mediator here within the hour. He looked at Jennifer. We're going to fix this. Today. Right now. The next 3 hours happened mostly off camera, but the pieces that were recorded became the most powerful content the show ever produced. Marcus was reached by phone, his voice shaking as he heard the letter read to him. Dad knew? He kept repeating. He knew. Jennifer's mother arrived at the studio within 90 minutes, her face a mixture of anger, confusion, and hope. When she saw the will, when she heard the letter, she collapsed into a chair. He was protecting all of us, she whispered. Even Marcus. Even from himself. But what happened next is something no one in the room, or watching at home, saw coming. Marcus arrived at the studio 2 hours later. He walked onto the stage where Jennifer still sat, the letter now protected in a plastic sleeve held by the legal consultant. For a long moment, the 2 siblings just stared at each other across the space that had divided them for 8 months. Then Marcus did something nobody expected. He pulled out his phone, unlocked it, and showed Dr. Phil a video. I recorded this 3 weeks ago, he said, his voice breaking. I was going to use it to prove Jennifer was lying about the signature. But then I watched it again last night, and I couldn't sleep. The video showed Marcus in what appeared to be a lawyer's office, the fake will spread on the desk in front of him. The audio was muffled but clear enough. The signature is close enough. Nobody's going to challenge it. His hand was shaking a lot toward the end anyway. Dr. Phil's jaw tightened. You knew it was forged. I told myself it's what he wanted. That he showed me where it was for a reason. Marcus's voice cracked. But I've been dying inside. Every day, I wake up and I can't breathe. I destroyed my family for money I was going to lose anyway to gambling debts. Jennifer stood up. The studio held its breath. She walked across the stage to her brother. For a moment, nobody knew what would happen. An embrace? A slap? More tears? Jennifer reached into her pocket and pulled out a business card. This is the number for the addiction treatment center Dad wanted you to go to. It's paid for. Already. He set aside money for it years ago. She pressed the card into Marcus's hand. He loved you enough to protect you from yourself. Don't waste that. Marcus crumpled, and Jennifer caught him. The 2 siblings held each other as years of pain, betrayal, and hurt began to crack open. Their mother rushed onto the stage, joining the embrace. The family counselor moved in, creating a protective circle around them. Dr. Phil stepped back, giving them space. He turned to the camera with tears in his own eyes. This is why we do this show, he said quietly. Not for the drama. Not for the ratings. For moments like this. When truth breaks through all the walls we build, and families find their way back to each other. Share and subscribe. Make sure this story is never forgotten. In the weeks that followed, the Morrison family began the long process of healing. Marcus entered a 90-day treatment program for gambling addiction. Jennifer took over management of her father's company, implementing the trust structure exactly as he'd specified. Their mother joined a grief support group and started therapy to process the complex emotions of losing her husband while learning truths he'd kept hidden. The fake will was formally challenged and withdrawn. Marcus's video confession and the authenticated original will made the legal process surprisingly straightforward. The estate was divided equally, with Marcus's portion placed in the trust that released funds monthly, contingent on his continued treatment and recovery. But the money was never really the point. 6 months after that episode aired, Jennifer sent Dr. Phil a photo, 3 siblings and their mother standing in front of their father's workshop, holding tools, smiling, not the forced smiles of obligation, but the genuine warmth of a family that had found its way back. Attached to the photo was a note. Dad's toolbox sits in the middle of the workshop now, visible to everyone. We open it together every time we're all there. It reminds us that he trusted us to do the hard work of being a family. Thank you for helping us honor that trust. Dr. Phil kept a copy of Richard Morrison's letter in his office, framed beside other mementos from cases that had deeply affected him. That man loved his children enough to trust them with hard truths. He knew his daughter was strong enough to handle the burden of truth. That's profound faith. The hidden will became more than a legal document. It became a symbol of a father's final gift, not money, but the opportunity to choose love over greed, forgiveness over bitterness, truth over comfortable lies. Years later, the Morrison family returned for a follow-up segment. Marcus was 3 years sober, working under Jennifer's management. My sister saved my life, he said. And my dad saved us all, even after he was gone. Jennifer brought the toolbox, its false bottom now permanently open. My father trusted me to be strong enough to do what needed to be done. Dr. Phil closed with words that resonated far beyond this family. Real love isn't about making things easy. It's about believing in people enough to let them face hard truths and grow through them. Richard Morrison's hidden will was a father's final lesson. That truth, no matter how painful, is always the foundation for real healing. The envelope hidden for 20 years had contained a father's ultimate act of love. The gift of truth, the challenge to be better, and the faith that his family had the strength to choose each other over everything else. And they did.